Mr. Stefferson is an ethnologist, and his job, along with Dr. Anderson, was to canvass the various persons along the northern border, the Arctic border of Canada, and in pursuit of tribes who had not seen a white man. Well, the Hudson Bay Company had the trading posts, and Canada also had its Indians as well as Eskimos. So there was plenty of material for Mr. Stephenson to work with. And as he himself says, the coming of the white man will do them little good. And indeed, it has proven to be true. So, what we end up with is a chronicle of his adventures. Now, according to Mr. Stefansson, the person who has adventures is a person who has made a mistake. Because you're not supposed to have adventures. You're supposed to have a very easy, smooth career. It doesn't work like that. And it certainly didn't for him. So you're going to find, oh dear, well, we made a mistake. So, and then I decided, which turned out to be a mistake. And he kept having, every now and again, an adventure. Which was rather, in its own way, rather amusing. There are only 2 outright instances where the man actually gave you some humor. And they were pretty good. But they did, in fact, meet several groups. I would call them tribes. You might want to, but, you know. They were basically grouped by region. And no, the Eskimo didn't trust the Indians, and the Indians didn't trust the Eskimo, so past experience having been poor when such meetings occurred. Not that the white men was much better, they were just sneakier to their destruction. In any case, he found blonde-haired, to a certain point, and blue-eyed, and huge Inuit. Bona fide Eskimos. But somewhere along the line, and this Stephenson gives his considered opinion, that there must be a bit of Scandinavian in them, because they all pretty much were the same size as your full-fledged, good old Scandinavian stevedore. So, yes, some hulking brute came out of the bush there, or out of the ice, with sandy hair and shining blue eyes. Eskimos are generally a shorter, more stalwart built group of people. They are not usually well over 6 foot. And they're usually dark. Dark of hair, dark of eye, and slightly darker of skin. Mainly due to weathering. Now, the conditions under which they live do not lead one to believe they'd be vegetarian. They don't go very, you wouldn't get very far. I mean, trees won't grow. Maybe you could lick some lichen. But no. Eskimos lived on fat and meat. And the fattier, the better, according to them. And with this, Stefansson had to agree. Because when their food ran out, and they did not have pemmican, which was a big mistake, you have to eat meat and fat because that's the only thing around that you can eat. So you eat this. And yes, there was an adaptation period. Long sled journeys couldn't be made. But after you adapt, well, he was trekking along like nobody's business. Who needs dogs to pull a heavy sled? Ah, strapping me up. I'll drag it along. So much energy, so much strength, so much nutrition can be gotten by eating whales and seals and polar bears and wolves and caribous with the odd ptarmigan and duck and bunny rabbit, well, or Arctic hare, if you prefer to be precise, involved just for a little bit of difference. They also ate fish. Fish. They fish with nets. They fish with spears. And, that's basically it. They weren't using bows and arrows. But they did have house building knives and house building mittens. And they could build a snow house. No problem. Hey, we can do this. And yes, there is a trick to building an igloo. You have to slant those bottom cuts a bit, so you get that nice dome shape. Yeah. Very precise. And how they cooked the things. And yes, they ate the liver and the kidneys and the heart and the tongue. Because that's where most of the minerals and vitamins and nutrients came from. That and the blubber. Blubber is what kills hunger. And the protein is what builds bodies and keeps you going. So, yeah. And then when he came back, Stefansson proved it. Because they kept him strictly in the hospital, which controlled all his food. And he still ran rings around everybody on a basic carnivorous diet. So those who think ketogenics and those who think carnivore diets, and we all have to be vegan, no. You don't. So anyway, he was very precise in his little diary book. And I think you'll enjoy reading it. His adventures were really quite something. And I'm glad I wasn't there. Not at all. But if you want to know about Eskimos, or, how to avoid starving, this is a book for you. Because it'll tell you how to survive in a blizzard, in a rainstorm, when it's minus 30 degrees. And how to prevent frostbite, and how to not die. So, it's fun to read about adventures, rather than have them. Thank you for watching, and please come again.